Hello, hello. It seemed like my first attempt to stream was having some technical difficulties, and it's still having some technical difficulties. All right, now we're in focus. So this is just going to be me getting ready, putting makeup on my face in preparation for the video that's going to follow after. In the video after I put on my makeup, I'm going to be talking about the Tom Ford brush and how it compares to the Refer 24 cheek brush, which I just recently got my hands on. And I pulled a couple other brushes to compare because I know people are probably going to ask about them. So I'll be talking about these brushes in the video after this one. So the brushes I have pulled for getting ready are as follows. I have the Chikuhodo KZ02, the Chikuhodo Z11, the Sonia G. What fan is this? This is the worker fan. The Tanseido WQ12, the Chikuhodo Z10, and the Sonia G Blending 2. No, Crease 2, my bad. So I'm going to talk about the brushes and then apply the makeup. So Chikuhodo KZ02, this is a cheek brush. It's a very large cheek brush. I would normally consider this to be a powder brush, but it gets this big when you don't dry in the brush guard, which is how I usually dry my brushes. And if you dry in a brush guard, it's kind of more like this size. So it's more manageable, but I tend to dry mine without a brush guard. Gray squirrel doesn't fluff up as much as red squirrel like this brush does, so that's why this brush is so massive, but it is on the bigger side. It's bigger than the gray squirrel Z8 cheek brush. So this one is like a big setting powder brush or bronzer brush, which is how I tend to use it. And I'll demonstrate that later. The Z11 is this sort of round brush, round domed blending brush. It's actually really unusual to find a gray squirrel blending eye brush in this round domed shape. This is the only one that I know of unless you go the custom route. And it's on the larger side, but I'd probably call it medium large because it's not truly large. It just fluffs up a little bit. Excuse me. And I'll be using this today as a highlight brush because the size makes it good for that. Next up, I have the Sonia G Worker 3, or Worker Fan, sorry. This is made of Haku Ototsuho goat hair. And it's quite a thick fan. It's on the denser side. It's not super airy like some fan brushes you may be used to. And I'll be using this to contour and sculpt around my face and neck. Next up, I have a large eye brush. This is the Tanseido WQ12. It's fairly loose, but it's not airy by any means. And then as you can see, the coverage, the area is quite big. So this is definitely a base laying brush as well as blending brush. Don't really get much precision out of the tip, even though you have that slightly diamond shape, which the taper does give you some control, but not a super large amount like some other brushes I have. And this is the Chikuhodo Z10 pencil brush made of gray squirrel. I think I featured this bunch already. I'm going to be using it for detail eye work. And then this is the Sonia G Crease 2 made of Chikuhodo goat hair. Round blending brush, kind of like the Chikuhodo Z11. But because it's goat, it behaves very differently. So I prefer to use this one for really doing a blending eye crease. Well, this one I use it more for just like smacking down color if I want to shade my eye. But today I'm going to use that one as a highlight brush. So I've already applied my base because I wanted to skip that. I didn't have any new foundation brushes to show. So I'm going to be setting my foundation, mattifying it a little bit. As you can see, it's shiny using my usual powder. And then using this brush. So even though the red squirrel is very soft and airy, it has no problem picking up harder formulas like a baked formula. So that's nice. Now that I have my face mattified, I'm going to go in with same brush, using the same brush, just a little bit of bronzer. I'm going to be using, I'm going to use a slightly more cool toned color today. And I'm using the side of the brush, like the slightly smaller side versus the big fat side. I'm using this to kind of do the outsides of my face. I haven't seen the sun in probably 2 weeks, so I'm getting a little pasty here. Been buried in finishing up stuff for the end of the semester and finals. I'm just going to really blend and buff this in. So that's the thing that really surprised me about Red and Cotton Squirrel. Even though it's so soft and airy, it still does blend very well. Like, this is how fluffy it is. I can compress the brush down this much. Quite impressive. So that's that. I'm going to do a little bit around the perimeter too. Otherwise, it looks like I don't have a jawline. And then with this, I'm actually flattening the brush a little bit by pressing it, so I get a little bit more density and I get a little bit of a sharper line, and my camera won't focus. And then using your fingers to manipulate your brush is something you can definitely do with every brush to get more precision out of it. So for example, if I wanted to do highlight, I could really squish the brush down into an almost fan shape, like this, and then apply highlight with it. Oh my god, why won't my camera? Okay. So like that. If I squeeze it down, it pretty much ends up like a fan brush. So that's a trick you can use if you're traveling and you only have a limited amount of brushes to apply your makeup with. Or if you're in a pinch, you can use a pinch. Okay. Face is nicely sculpted out. I'm not going to apply blush yet because I'm going to be applying blush as I compare these two brushes. So I'll leave blush for the next video. I'm going to use this Sonia G worker fan to contour around my face and nose. I'm going to be using an even more cool toned sort of color. This is Inglot's 357 here. It's more matte as well. So I'm going to be using this for my contour today to really just add more. And then I've done a whole video on the Kazan Squirrel, the KZ series. It's somewhere on my channel. It was before I got my new webcam, so the quality is a bit crap, but I do a lot of comparisons of all the brushes in comparison to the other Chikuhodo brushes and the just other brushes I have that are made of similar hair or similar shape. So definitely check that one out. I do plan to refilm just the review part of it sometime. I'm not doing the comparisons again, though. That was a lot of brushes to wash. Okay. And I also did a video on the whole Skyface series, these blue handle brushes from Sonia G, so definitely check those out. Check that video out if you're interested in these brushes. I've actually done 2 videos. There was one on my crappy camera, and then I did a 1-year update recently. I think in the last month, maybe last 2 months. Kind of lost track of time. So as you can see, this brush is precise enough that I can go and contour my nose and eye socket, which I really like doing. So I take it like a line between my hairline, temple, and down my nose. I'm really taking my time with makeup today because I haven't really had the opportunity to do it. Okay, check my blending. I think I want to amp it up a little more on my cheeks. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and apply highlighter first, then blush over it in the next video using the Chikuhodo blend brush. This is the Z11, one of the later additions to the Z series. I'm going to be using this highlighter by Joe. And then for a gray squirrel brush, it lays down a lot of pigment, as you can see from the shine right away. Like, I originally thought this brush wouldn't be strong enough because it was made of gray squirrel. What a misconception. I actually ended up really being impressed by how strongly it could blend out a smoky eye. I have a video on my Instagram where I compare this brush to another brush, the Chikuhodo S142, and you can see how quickly I slap down a big blown out smoky eye with it. It's literally just dab, 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 and then dab, dab, dab some more, and then you have a smoky eye. A little bit on my outer brow bone, right above where I contoured with the eyeshadow for the temple. Okay. Next, I am going to use the Tanseido WQ12. Yeah, I know that's upside down. This is made of Chikuhodo goat. Fairly springy, and I'm going to use it to lay down a bit more color near the base of my eye. I'm going to use this warm color. And I'm using that part of the diamond tip, the slant right here, to get it close to the eye. And then as I pat, it kind of just blends in by itself. So even though it's a very large eye brush, it's suitable for everyday looks and not just big dramatic looks. That's a big misconception people have about the big eye brushes, is that there's no real use for them besides laying down eye base. That depends. Diamond tip brushes like this have a lot more control. And now the color is on this one side, right? So I'm going to flip it upside down and go under my eye with it so that the color is only facing up and it doesn't pull the eye down. I have a video on how to use large eye brushes as well, but I didn't go into detail like this, actually using them for the most part. Just give ideas on how to use them in that video. Okay, now haze out the corner a little bit. Now I'm using the full flat of the brush so I can really get a soft blend. If I use the tip, I would get a little bit of a harsh line, so I'm using it practically perpendicular. Practically parallel to the skin. Perpendicular gets you the strong division, which is what you would do if you were looking for more of a cut crease look. Okay, what else do I want to do for eyes? I'm gonna do this sort of purpley color in the crease and outer corner with the Sonia G crease 2. This is a solidly medium blending eye brush. That's why I call the Chikuhodo Z11 medium large, because it is longer. But the shorter length of this one gets you a little more controllability and a stronger blend. I won't say harsher, but it's definitely stronger. So I'm going to, and because it's goat, that's why I'm taking off most of the pigment on the back of my hand before I apply it. Just gradually build it up. And I think I want to take it out today. Gonna wrap a little bit around under the eye as well. The way I do this is usually just close it and then swirl the brush in the outer corner, rather than actually like keeping my eye open and aiming for it. So I kind of swirl the brush in that outer corner area in general and then move it up a little bit. And gonna bring it in just a little tiny bit. Oops. Gonna grab that brush again, and this time I'm going to use the clean side. or relatively cleaner side that doesn't have the tan color, and use that to kind of do a blend. Okay. I'm going to take the Z11, go into this shinier peach color, pop that on the mostly visible lid. I have sort of like an odd crease. It's not quite a double crease, or it's not, I'm not monolidded or double lidded. I'm kind of like 1.5 lidded. So, and then I'm using the tip of that to draw right underneath my lash line on my bottom lid. My hand, and then I'm going to go into this color, which is actually a face color on the Clinique Cheek Pops. It's like sort of this like light frosty pinkish thing. I'm gonna use that for my inner corner highlight because I don't like the one in a quad I just pulled. So, but I do like the mirror. Put that on there. Then I'll just curl my lashes, apply mascara. Oh, I forgot to do brows. Do that, curl my lashes, do mascara, and then come back and do this video. So just to review the brushes, this is KZ02, the cotton squirrel from the Homare, the cotton squirrel brushes from the Chikuhodo Homare series. This is a big cheek brush. I call it a face brush, but its official designation on carved into the handle is cheek brush. This is the Chikuhodo Z11 Blend eye brush. I was using it as a highlighter brush for the face today. This is the Sonia G Worker Fan. Great all-around brush. Surprisingly, a lot of people online didn't like this. I found that out after I made my review video, but this is one of my favorite brushes from the Sky Face line. This is the Sonia G Crease 2. It's a very good, solid, medium-sized, round blending brush. And then this is the Tanseido WQ12 large diamond-tipped goat eye brush. And then this is the Chikuhodo Z10 eyeshadow brush, which you are probably no stranger to by now. What did I say? No, this is it. This is the Z10. This is made of gray squirrel, just like the Z11 is made of gray squirrel. So I'll answer questions as I'm doing the last finishing steps for my eyes, and then pop over to do my cheeks with the Refer 24 and the Tom Ford 06. The Refer 24 is my first and my only Refer brush so far. It was brought to my attention because someone was asking me what I thought about the holiday set. I wasn't terribly excited about the entire holiday trio set, so I just got the 24 because that seemed interesting. Thought it might be a viable replacement for the original Tom Ford 06, the cheek brush, which is now, it's still in production, but the problem. The thing I dislike is it's now made of synthetic fibers instead of good goat hair. So we'll see if I can recommend the Refer 24 over the Tom Ford 06. And I did pull a couple other brushes to compare as well because I know they're going to come up naturally as questions. Like, oh, how does that compare to these brushes? So just pulled common ones to talk about. Actually need to do a little bit more of a blend on my eye over here. Just this inner corner, that's all. Okay, all good. Mascara and then questions. Let's see, do I own the Kokutan powder brush M Squirrel and Synthetic, and would I recommend it? Funny that you asked that. I'm going to the Hakuhodo showroom, and I've gotten permission to film there, and I will be pretty much going through an entire brush line or brush series and then talking about them. So definitely put in the comments which lines you are most interested in seeing. I've gotten requests for the couple of people I told this about for the G series and the B series. Not really that much interest in the S series, surprisingly, so far. But I can definitely make a note of your request for the Kokutan, and then if I talk about all the brushes, of course, I'm going to talk about that M brush. Just got some mascara on my lid. Wow, I'm out of practice. I haven't done that in a while. Wow, upper and bottom lid. I am on a roll today. It's like I don't know how to multitask anymore. Let's see. Aw, thank you. I hope you liked everything you got in your CD Japan order. S100, okay. The S100 that the USA showroom has is not everything that the Japanese line offers because they don't have Kolinsky and Weasel, so just keep that in mind. If you have some brushes that are made of Kolinsky and Weasel on your list, I can't help you with those. And with this, I am done, and I'll see you in a couple minutes in the next video. Bye.